Hello everybody. I'll wait a couple of seconds here until we get some people on here. Hello, hello. While I'm waiting for you folks to show up, I will try to mark some of this. And yep. Hello there, Michael. James. Hello, Christine. I can see the comments today for a change. That's good. Okay. Hello, hello. Okay. Let me explain to you. Let's wait just a couple more minutes here, just another minute or so. We're going to have some fun here tonight. This is going to be a two-part series, and you'll be able to make... hi, Jack and Jenny. Welcome. All right, we're up to 14 people already. Okay. Well, let's give it a couple more minutes here. 30 seconds, and I'll start. All right. Wow. Hello, everybody. Hello, Warren and John. And Jane. I'm still working on your knives, Jane. I haven't forgotten you. I'll get to it tomorrow, most likely. All right, so what we're going to do. Some of you have been asking about my little songbirds, okay? These little guys. Now, there is one other one that I don't have in front of me. It's the goldfinch. I sold that one. We have the bluebird and we have the chickadee. And then this is my casting of the cardinal. I don't have any cardinals right now. So technically, if you hold on, and the blue jay I don't have either because I sold that. This style, okay, once we do this style, this is the casting of one. This style will do either the blue jay or you can do the cardinal with it, okay? So you can do two different birds from the same pattern. And then with this pattern of the chickadee, you can actually do three other birds, the chickadee, the blue jay, and the goldfinch, with one pattern. So, and this would be the casting of the chickadee. So, let me put those over there, and we're going to start with the chickadee first, all right? And then you can make three different kinds of songbirds out of this. This is my ornament size. The size is 2.5 inches high, and it's 1.5 by 1.5 square. Okay, that's all we're going to do. We're going to make one out of this little guy right here. So, hello, Ruthie. You have to come out on the deck someday, Ruthie, and do some carving. We'll get Colleen over here, too. And a couple other people. All right. When it's safe to do so. So, let's get started. The first thing I do is I usually measure it a little bit. Because the head is the most important thing is getting that bill in there like you should. So, what we're going to do is we're going to cut upward. All right. It's gonna be square, kind of, but you want it a little bit bigger. You can always make it a little bit smaller. We'll see how that goes. I have, let me start carving. It's been a while since I've carved one of these, so just bear with me. I haven't done a lot of carving this year. So the first thing you want to do is find out where the center is, and you're going to just go from the end of the bill, you're just going to go up. You're going to just do the first notch. Then you're going to go from the bottom, you're going to go down just a tiny, tiny bit. All right, let me readjust this lighting here for a second. Let me see if I can get it. Let me see if I can push this back a little bit. There we go. The next thing we're going to do, and if you have any questions, I'll see if I can see them as they scroll by. I actually have the comments on today. Okay, so we're going to go a little bit lower. And we're going to go this way. And we're going to notch that out. And you're going to go in pretty far. All right, and then you're going to go up again this way. All right, so there's the bill. It's not hard to do, but it's there, okay? So the next thing you want to do after you do that, you want to take your pen or pencil, and you're going to just draw like a little line right like so. Okay, like a little V from the bottom of that straight line over. And you want to measure that with your finger, okay? Just measure it with your finger. There you go. All right. So once you do that, you kind of want to just kind of follow that line around a little bit and just cut out a little bit on each side. Those little corners you want to knock off a little bit. Okay? All right, so there's the bill, kind of. We'll work on that a little bit later. All right, so once you get that done, and that looks a little, well, it's not crooked. It looks like it's crooked, but it's not. Once you get that done, we're going to cut, because that bill has to stick out a little bit here. We're going to cut this back. We're just going to round this off a little bit. All right, see how we're already shaping that head a little bit. Okay, and then I'm going to shape it this way. I'm going to start rounding the head a little bit and start shaping it up a little bit. So the next thing I do is I take this off here. Whoops. Hang on to it, guys. Make sure you have your thumb guards on, and if you have if you're a beginner, you want to wear a glove, okay? All right, so that's the first part. Now the head's a little on the flat side, as you can see. So I'm going to start just sweeping it out a little bit like this. All right, just kind of sweep it out a little bit. Okay, just like so. And then I'm going to round the top off again a little bit on the top. Now, if we were doing the cardinal, you would leave that there, but we're not doing the cardinal today, so we're going to round that head off. Just take off that thing at the top there. There you go. This might take us a little longer to make today. It's been a while since I've made one, so I don't know how long it's actually going to take. But anyway, so as I'm looking at this, it's got a ways to go yet. All right, it's got a ways to go. So we're going to bring this down a little bit more. And what I usually do, there's usually a little indentation right here at the crown of the head. So we're going to go in a little bit further right here, okay, on either side. See how I'm starting to scoop that out? That's exactly what you want to do. You don't want to take too much more off of the head right now. That will come out a little bit later. Alright, so what we're working on today are our birds. Somebody has been asking, a few of you have asked when I was going to do the songbirds that I did last year, a couple of years ago. And I thought today was a good day to start doing them. I really could not keep up with the people wanting these the one year. It was quite a hit. So I'm going to take all this rough stuff off. Because you want to make sure you take that stuff off, otherwise it's going to not look right when you paint it. It's going to soak up the paint more. Okay. Alright. So I'm going to round this up a little bit more here. His head's way too fat right now. Alright, there we go. Alright, that's pretty well where I want it for now. We can always take it down a little further a little bit later. Alright, so we got the rough stuff off the top. Now, I'm going to look at it from the side. See how wide that is compared to what that is there. So we're going to chop more off here. So that's not too much. And definitely more in the back. So we're going to just bring this in a little bit, and we're just going to start chopping some of this out. And round it. And I'm going if you're looking for another Santa, I do have another idea, and after we do 2 weeks of this, I'll come up with something else for you. That's going to be a little bit different as it was before. So, from the top of the bill down, there's a little bit of a crest here. I don't know if you can see that right there. Okay, see there's a little crest there. So I didn't put any glass eyes in. You can put glass eyes if you want. You'll have to go to a special shop for that. Excuse me for a minute. No hot chocolate today, iced tea. Anyway, so you can put in the eyes with glass if you want, but we're not going to do that. So meanwhile, while I'm looking at this, I'm going to start shaping the body a little bit. I'm going to figure out where the bottom part of the feet, because see the feet stick out a little bit here. So let's draw that on first for a second. So I'm going to go up here just a tad. I'm going to just make it the same distance. Let's see if I can do this over here. Same distance over here as over here. And we're just going to match, do a little bit of a round quarter circle on both sides. Just like so. The first thing you want to do is take your knife and you're going to go straight in. Okay. Actually, this will be rounded anyway, so that will be fine, okay? You want to round that in, and then you want to take your little V-tool, such as this one, and you just want to follow that to the side. 1 and 2. Alright. We're going to go in a little deeper, of course, so we're going to take our little knife again, and we're going to just cut it in a little bit further. That just gives us a nice guideline, nice and clear. And we're just going to bring this in a little bit on either side. Alright, and I'm going to round this off just a tiny bit. Alright, for his feet. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. I'll try to answer it if I see it. Alright, so then the next thing we're going to do is look at his tail. Okay, it's kind of the same thing, but it's a little different. We're going to cut that in, but we're not going to round it up, and we're not going to, it's kind of it's a little bit wider, so we'll do the same thing. We'll take our pencil, and we'll go up just a little ways here, and let me take a look at that. Yep, and we're going to go out, measure it with our finger. I always measure with my finger, then I know it's the same size on each side. Okay, 1 and 2. Somebody asked if I was going to have classes here at the farm. I do not believe so, not this year. If anything, it might be next fall. Who knows? We all have to take one day at a time with this event going on here. So there you go. So we're going to just let me see how I did that. Okay, so we're going to just push it in, and we're going to go up like a nice big V cut. Okay, all right, there you go. And again, we're going to take the V tool, and we're going to follow that line all the way around. So technically there's only going to be two weeks for the birds, because like I said, you can make 5 different ones out of this chickadee. You can make the goldfinch or the bluebird or any other bird, little songbird if you want. That's up to you. Okay, so we're going to just take that out, take that out, just like what we did with the front. But this one's going to be a little bit different because we're going to round this off just a little bit, not by much. And we're going to bring this, we're going to try to round this off a little bit. Okay, just like that. We're going to take that hard edge off, and we're going to go right all the way to the side here. Alright, so the tail's pretty well done. If you want to go in a little deeper, you can. But, so now he's starting to get a little bit of shape. He's got a little tummy. He's got a little backbone there. So, what we do is we just take that hard edge off. And again, I'm going to be pulling this off again here. And just, and now I'm going to go down the side a little bit. Down here, all we do is we tuck it under. That's all we do there. Alright, so we're going to tuck this under just a little bit. Just take off that side. That's all I do, is a little piece like that. Not much. Okay, here's a good lesson for you. See this little line right here? That isn't a sharp enough knife. There is a burr in the knife, and I can see it. It's probably right there, if you can see it. And to get rid of that, you can hone it on a wheel, or you can put it on a... I went to sharpen these real quick in the office, like 15 minutes before I got online here. So in my rush, but it's still cutting okay, but I'm going to try to use the end part of the knife better. When you're taking off a lot of stuff, it doesn't matter. So I'm going to round this up to both sides, okay, just like so. Again, we're rounding it up. That annoys me when I see that. All right, and there we go. And again, we're going to take this hard edge off. We're just going to round it a little bit, because actually, if you look at this, look at it from the top. You see the square? This is a square. We're doing it from the corner. I do all my things from the corner. So when you actually carve it, this will still be flat. This will still be flat. This side will be flat, and this one will be flat. So you, hey Robert, nice to see you here. It's good to see you, Robert. It's a long time no see. Missed a couple of shows down in Lancaster, but anyway, I will show you how to see. Now we have a flat side here, but it's too much of a flat. So we're just going to keep moving along and start scooping it out a little bit more. See the head starting to pop up a little bit. And we're going to get rid of this hard edge here. Hello, Rhonda and Beth. I see you guys are here. Or gals. Alright, so we're going to bring this up, and we're going to take all those hard edges off. Okay, so there's where we're at with our birds so far. Alright? That didn't take us too long to do that. It's just a matter of knowing where to cut. And the hardest part is going to be the face and putting that little crown in here. I think I can show you better with the blue jay what I mean. This part right here is really a little bit more difficult to do. So, you know, this is what we do it from the top of that bill up. So how I take care of this, this actually goes inward a little bit. Let me think how I'm going to show how to do that. I usually take my little V tool and I just go in a little ways further. 1, 2. See how that looks like it's more in, see how this is all kind of flat and this kind of sticks it in a little bit? And we're going to do the same thing over here. We're just going to take a little bit of the V tool and match those corners up. Now if it doesn't free up, you use your knife to free it up. Whoops. Or you could do that too. It's up to you. It's up to you. All right, so I'm going to bring this in a little more. I'm going to just follow this over with a knife. And I'm going to pop into the bill. Okay. Gives us a little bit more of a bill there. And I'm going to bring this down just a tad more. And this. I like to have these birds look fluffy, a little bit big eyes in them. I like that. So the same thing with the bottom. We're going to stick your knife in and just kind of follow the bottom part of that bill that you created and just do another little V cut with your knife because you're making that bill stick out. Now this is going to be a little bit smaller, so what we're going to do is we're going to bring this in and we're going to just chop it in a little bit just to make it a little thinner. It's a little bit too big. See how I just did that? Okay, so you're going to do the same thing over here. You're going to and you're going to just pop that out a little bit. That's all you're going to do. Let's see if I can get that. Okay. Now that bill's starting to get a little bit smaller, which is good. When we do the cardinal, it's going to be really, really wide. All right, so now what we need to do is we need to figure, let me bring this down a little bit. Okay, let me just bring all this down a little bit. And closer. There you go. All right. Now, the way I do the eyes, this is the top of the crown right here. So what we're going to do is we're going to bring this up like so. All right, just from the top. Just like that. See? Hardest part is making the other side match. Excuse me. Here. It's a little warm in here today. It got really warmer today here in PA. Okay, so I'm going to look at it from the front. So I'm going to try to match that up a little bit. Go up. And then come down. So what I often do is I measure it with my finger on the top to make sure they're at the same level. Let me see how this is here. Okay, now this is going to be taken down, but then now I take my V tool, all right, and I'm going. Now you notice it only. Let me see if I can do this right. I'm going to bring this over a little bit more. Okay. All right, so I'm going to take my V tool and I'm going to put it right on that line, and we're going to go all the way to the top of that bill, just like so. We're going to do the same thing with the other side. Notice how I hold on to this. It might be better if you're new at this not to put your hand underneath it, but to hold it on something. Like lean it against the table is a good idea. You can take little strokes like this, it's fine. Okay. All right, so now we have that there. We're going to take our knife and we're going to redo it. Pretty well straight in, a little bit at an angle. And I'm going to cut up towards it. Just like so. Okay? That's how you want it. And you want to continue that towards the back. Okay, so we have a little bit of a sweep in there, and we have that portion in there. And the same thing with the other side. You're going to take your knife and you're going to just push it in a little further. And you're going to turn it around and you're going to very carefully go next to where your bill is. And you're going to bring this all the way over and you're going to sweep that out. So I can definitely tell I need to sweep more out over here. So let me just do that now. Okay, now if this isn't far enough back, you can always redo that with your little V tool. But I notice this one's not as deep, so let me redo this and scoop this out a little bit more. Okay. He's got a little bit of a mean look to him, doesn't he? But that's how you do the head. And then you just put the eyes underneath. Right underneath it. So that's how that works. So what I'm going to, let me just take a look at it from back here real quick, because it's hard for me to see it up there. I kind of dig this out a little bit here. All right. And same thing over here. I just dig this out a little bit here and continue the bill a little further underneath that crown. So you can see that. All right. And then the same thing here. I'm going to go under a little bit more under this bill. And see, you notice I just keep chopping a little bit at a time out and make that bill stick out. All right. So the head's still pretty thick, so we can just take a little bit off yet. If you want to make this a little thinner, you can. You just have to redefine your line there. I'm going to do a little bit more here. And what I do a lot is I sit here and I look at it. You know, every time I do a few cuts, you notice I look at it from the front or I look at it from the side to make sure all the dimensions are semi-equal. You know, that everything looks about the same. So next week we'll do the cardinal. And the cardinal is pretty well the same concept, but just a little bit different with the head. The feet and the tail are pretty well the same. This is a contemporary looking bird. There's no realistic thing to it. Some people say, well, what do you use for the feathering? Well, I use my little V tools for that. And they come in really, really handy for that. And I'll tell you, the texture that you get and when you paint it, it pops out really, really well. So if you have any questions, feel free to ask. I'll try to answer them if I see them. So I'm just going around the head now. Notice this head is a lot smaller. You know, I've been making them a little bit fatter and a little bit more chunkier than before, but that's okay. It doesn't matter. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to, I'm going to try to take off all this rough stuff right now, because when we have to go start putting those feathers in, you don't want any of that stuff on here. And so, yeah, it's been a different type of a week this week. I am hearing a lot of people are sick and tired of being home and not being able to go out to eat as much. Things are very limited where you can go and what you can do today. And the protocols are so different, and I think we're all dealing with that right now. I still think Canada's going to be closed for a while. So that's just the way it is. Otherwise, my cousin would have been down here helping me. And, you know, as farmers, we always had to... I'm just taking the rough stuff off, folks. That's all I'm doing right now. A lot of times, as farmers, you have to figure out new ways to do things and be innovative with some new tools or something that might make your life easier. So I've been working on something for the tractor, and I don't know if it would work. And I did a small protocol yesterday of of trying to find a device that I could chop off the weeds underneath the fence line without buying a $4,000 or $8,000 product. And if I do it right, it might cost me less than $600. So I'll keep you in tune with that. I was really excited. Some of it worked yesterday, but I have to do it out of metal. I can't do it out of wood. But anyway, I'm taking all this rough stuff off. Let's see if I have a little bit longer knife here. Hang on just a second. Oh, I do. Sometimes having a longer knife to reach these, I don't know how nice and sharp it is, but it isn't. Okay, I should have taken that one and sharpened it up, but that is not going to happen today. Let's see here. If I have another one here, I can use it's a little longer. Maybe one of my other knives would work. There we go. Sometimes having a longer knife, a little longer than 1 1/4 inches, does make a difference. There we go. That will speed things up a little bit. Alright. See, now that, I was trying to teach somebody who's new at carving. When you feel it tug like that, you know they're going the wrong way. You're going against the grain, and automatically you'll flip your knife over, you'll go the other way. That comes automatically. I always tell people when you first start carving it, it's really a strange... Well, I got most of the rough stuff off. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. It will feel odd when you first start carving and doing that push and pull method. I'm going to clean off the feet a little bit, and then we'll do each section separately. And we'll get the eyes in there yet. Alright. So this, I'm always fussing with that bill. And those bills will all look a little different. Sometimes they're really skinny, sometimes they're a little fatter. There's no right or wrong way of doing it. Alright? So if yours is really skinny, don't worry about it. It's okay. If it's a little fatter than it should be, it's a caricature. It doesn't matter. So, alright. So, this is where we're at. Now, the hardest part for me, and for most people, is putting the eyeball in. So, when I put the eyeball in, you notice some of it's underneath that little crown. So you're not going to do a full round eyeball. Sometimes you will, sometimes you won't. It all depends on the bird. But I like a little bit of a crown there so you don't have to do a full eye. Now this one here I kind of had to because it's a little bit different bird. I didn't do as much of a crown on the bluebird and the goldfinch. So you'll probably end up doing a full eye. Let me get my sprayer out, because what I like to do is and there's so little of it in here, I usually spray it to soften it up with 50% water to 70% rubbing alcohol, if you can find it. A lot of people can't find it. Actually, I'm finding it by ordering it on Walmart site. If you order $35 worth of goods, you can get free shipping. Then order a bottle of the rubbing alcohol or the hand sanitizer if you need it. So here we go. I'm going to measure here, and I'm going to put a little dot right there, and I'm going to put a little dot over here. Okay, so that gives me a little bit of guidance. The other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to measure with my finger, and I'm just going to put a little line right underneath it. This just helps me to put it in the right place. And everybody is different with how this should go, okay? And you don't want to go too small if you can help it. Now I'm going to put this on here, and we're going to see how it looks. Let me do it back here for a second. Just a little bit easier for me. Hang on. 1, 2, yep. Okay, that looks fairly good, but I can see over here that I need to pull it out. Okay, so I'll redraw that on there. This is what takes the longest time with this, is putting these eyes in and making sure you put them in the right location and all that. Now, you can do it 2 different ways. You can do it with a knife, or you can use a little V-tool. So let me try it with the V tool back here, and if it works, I will do it out front. I don't remember how yes, that's right. Okay. Yeah, so you can do it with the little V tool. What you want to do is just go all the way around with your little V tool. Just very lightly on the line itself. All right? And then we'll fuss with it. Oh, we're really going to fuss with it. Okay. All right. That's the thing. Sometimes with the V-tool, you'll cut it where you don't really want to cut it, where you have a little more control with the knife sometimes. But it's okay. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to take it back here and I'm going to work on it again. Yes, you can use an eye tool. They come out really, really round. They will. I have not used them personally, but you can certainly use them if that's what you want. I try to do everything with a knife. So I'm going to go around and I'm going to pre-cut it again. Okay, so what I did was I just pre-cut it, and so I'm going to go in here and just start chopping a little bit of this out. Okay. I gotta look like I know what I'm doing here. Sorry, folks. This is a little hard to do in front of a camera and live, because if I make a mistake, you'll definitely see it. Okay, so there's the eye. I'll mess with that a little bit later, but then I do the inside, just like when we did the eye with the Santa. We do the inside of the eye first, then we do the outside. So I'm going to mess with that a little more later, but that's how you put the eye in, okay? Just take your time. I'm hurrying because of time-wise. And again, what I do is I just take my knife and I just kind of go in like so. You can do it either way. You can do it with sometimes I do it with the V-tool just to give me an idea where to go with it. And then I just slowly go around and cut the whole eye out. Trust me, one eye always works out better than the other for some reason. I mean, easier to cut out. Sometimes from right to left, you know. That eye is a little bit smaller, so what I do sometimes is I go back. See how I'm angling it out from the eyeball? Okay, this way. That way, when you cut this out, you can make it just a tiny bit wider. And it will give you a little bit bigger look here. And you just want to take your time. You don't want to rush this. You don't want to do it Speedy Gonzales like I'm doing right now. So, there we go. Alright, so that's the eyes, okay? That's all that's to that. Of course, I'm going to round the head up a little bit more. And there we go. There we go. Perfect. Alright. Alright. There we go. Now, what we're going to do is I'm going to just chop that off a little bit there. A little bit more there. I just want that eye a little more rounded. And again, you can go up underneath there and make it a little bit deeper right underneath the crown of that head. Alright. The next thing we do is right here, there's a little bit of an indentation. You see it right here? You can probably see it better. See, it's definitely a different color, right? It tells you where to stop with the blue or the black. What I do is I just take my little thing here and we just do a little, just like so. And I take my V-tool and I cut it out. I just start this way, just a little bit, maybe not as far over as I have it marked, but I go in and then I do it again with my knife. I make that V a little bit wider. Turn it upside down and then I bring that up. Alright. Okay, and then I just blend that in. Okay, so that's kind of his neck area there. So now you have a little bit of a neck area there, and we'll blend this back into it. You can join me next week at the same time at 7:30 on a Tuesday, and we're going to do the other bird. Very similar, but a little bit different. Okay? Welcome, Mule and Jim. All right, so that's one part. All right, now comes a bit of the fun part. Where do you put all the feathering and all the rest? So let's start with the tail first, okay? I just put a couple of, your top tail is going to be in there first. So what I usually do is I just make a little bit of a curvature like that. Same thing on the other side, and I just do one extra line. This you'll want to use a knife for. You're just going to dig it in, straight in, and you're going to go undercut. There's one, there's two. Okay? That's, I don't know if you can see that. 1, 2. Hello, Justin. It's a chickadee. There you go. We're doing a chickadee. The ornament size. I still have some of the lumber here for the ornament. I'll have to order more if I get more orders. And if I do, it will take an extra, maybe a few days to get it. If I order it this week, I should get it middle of next week. Okay, we're doing the other side right now. Okay, so there you go. So there's the feathering on the tail. Now we're going to do the feet real quick. Okay, so it's, let me see how I did this. Same idea. We're going to put one down the center, a line down the center. Down the center. Okay, that's more the center. And then we're going to just do a little bit of a curvature there. And this is, whoops, this is where we're going to use a little bit of the V-tool on this. I'm going to bring this down a little bit, just a tad. I'm not happy with that. Okay. Okay, so what you're going to do is just take your V-tool straight in, and you're going to just make one mark and bring that one down. Is this the right one? Yeah, I guess it is. All right. Okay, that's 1, 2, and 3. For his little feet, little footsies. And I just do a little bit of rounded. Notice I just do a little bit of it rounded. And then you can take the knife and round these off a little bit if you want. And then I go straight across for those little like joints that you see. All right. So we'll go across this way. 1, 2, 1, 2, and 1. Now, if I was doing this on my own, I'd be taking a little bit more care doing this, but like I said, I'm always running for time here, so I don't bore you people to death. Okay, so that's the feet. All right, so we got the feet and we got the tail done. The other fun part is the bill is comes to a point. We're going to take that little point off. Just a tiny bit. Now you can do this either way. If your V-tool is sharp enough, then you can do it with the V-tool. If it's not sharp enough, then you may just want to do it with a knife. So let's do it with the knife today. I'm just going to go, I'm going to put a little line, and I'm just going to cut on either side of that line, just like we would with a V tool. And just take a little bit out. There you go. And you're going to go all the way across and do the same thing. Just take your time. You don't want to chip the whole thing off. Okay, and then I'll turn it the other way. Make sure it's straight. Go all the way to the other corner. And okay, there you go. And it's crooked. Okay. See if I can fix that a little bit. Hang on. I'm coming back, I promise. Well, that's how it's going to be for now. Alright, so that's how you get the line in your bill. Alright, so this is still a little bit on the rough side. We're going to see if we can take a little more of that off. And I'm going to just round this off just a tiny bit more. Alright, now comes the fun part. We have the side feathers, as you see here. Alright, and I only have like 3 or 2, sometimes 2, usually 3. Alright, so I look at the front of it, and it's coming down and around a little bit. So it goes all the way down to the bottom. So what I do is I just start on one side and I bring it up, just like so. Then I kind of measure it a little bit on this side, because it's very hard, like I said, it's very hard to get both sides to work exactly the same. And I bring this one up. Let's see if I did that right. Nope. Let me take a look at that. Okay. So that's one. Alright. Now you're going to go up the back side. Kind of the same thing, but you've got to look at it from the back, and you can see right here and right here are the lines for the back side of the bird. So we're going to go right up here, and we're going to just, so it's nice and wide, okay? And now I'm looking at it from the side, and I just want a little bit of a curvature on it. I don't want much of a curvature on it, but a little bit of curvature on it. So I look at it, and it looks pretty even everywhere. So the first thing I do is I take my knife. I take my knife, and I'm going to just gently go down here, and I'm going to put a stop cut, and I'm going to slowly cut that out. Just like so. And when you do this, you don't want to, and I'm telling you, you don't want to dig up too far into your feather. Alright, you just don't want to do that. Alright. Then here I smooth this down a little bit. You can make it a little deeper if you want. It's up to you. Okay? Just like so. And then I'm going to round this off a little bit more. And kind of blend things in as you go. Alright? So that's one feather. Let's do the other side. And you can go in kind of deep. It's not going to hurt it any to do that. Makes it a little bit easier to go in deeper. Okay. And then again here I kind of underneath a little bit. Alright. So that's the front of your chickadee. Now we're going to do the back side of the wing. Same concept. You're just going in straight in, and you're going to follow your line that you put down. And you're just going to cut this out very carefully. Now you can use your V tool. A V tool, if you master the V tool, you can really do some interesting things with it. Now this I'm going to, there you go. Okay, so that's the back side. Again, I'll be fussing with this a little bit when I get offline. A little bit more. But once you put the feathering in and all that, you don't want to do a lot more trimming and going back on stuff. Okay, so let's see. If you're just joining us, we're doing a chickadee. Ornament chickadee. Alright, now he's a lot fatter than the other one, but you get the concept of it. Alright, some are fatter, some are skinnier, it all depends. So now we've got the whole wing done. So how I have this laying feather-wise is the first feather that's laying on top is the one facing the front of the bird. So technically I just take this and I just kind of, and then I put another line behind it. Somewhere there. Okay? And same thing over here. I just kind of put the first feather in and then put another one behind it. That one worked a little better. I think that one's a little thicker. No, it's not. It's just a little different. Alright, and you're going to do the same thing with those lines. You're just going to follow them down. And you're going to cut those out. And you got to feel how the thing is going, that you're, and sometimes they're a little thicker, sometimes they're a little thinner. That all depends. Okay, and then wait till we get into doing the feathering. You're going to love that. Get your V-tools ready. Get them good and sharp. You're going to do a lot of it with this. That's really a must for this piece. And I'm going to just show you sections of it because I think it's too repetitious once we get past this feathering here, because this is probably the most important as far as separating feathering. And we'll see how it works. Okay, so now I kind of smooth that out a little bit in each wing. Now comes the fun part. The head and the body, they all flow kind of in the same way. So with the head, we go straight into the bill, and then we go right over the head, right down the center pretty well. And then we have everything blending towards the center. And then everything flaring out from the center in the front. Alright, so it's blending in on the back, and it's blending out in the front. It's flaring out. So I always work with, let's see if I can get comfortable enough to do this. This is the hardest part, is right here. So because we have a little bit of a curvature coming out from here and there. So what I often do, I don't do it as much now, but you may just want to put little lines how the feathering should go. Okay? That will just give you an indication which direction you should go. And this kind of flares out. Here, I'll show you. So right here, we're going to go right up to the bill, and we're just going to start doing little lines, big lines, and we're going to cross them over a little bit. And we're going to bring them, and we're going to just start turning it a little bit. You notice I'm taking really small little strokes here. That's the nice thing about this little V tool, especially the one with the new handles that I got. They work really well for this. A lot of control on these little ones. Alright, so, okay, so you notice I'm just flaring that out. Now I don't want to go in too far down here, just a little ways to the, let's see if I can set this up a little different. Oh, there we go. That's even better. No, that's not better. I'm trying to figure out so the shadows show up a little bit better. Alright, so that's how you do the face. And like I said, you right up here, you're going to just do a couple little strokes. Just little ones. And you can make this as fine as you want, as tight as you want there. So we're going to go right around the face here. and it's flaring out again. It's not easy doing it this way because you won't get up close to the bill doing it that way. Alright, so you kind of just go around the whole bill here a little bit. And then I go around the eye here a little bit. And I kind of just flare it all down. Now if your V-tool is nice and sharp, you'll be able to go in any direction as I'm doing here. Because I'm really going against the grain. You can tell by the look of it. I should turn it around. It will be a little bit of a cleaner cut. But I don't want to go too far in this separate feathering because we'll work on that in a little bit here. I'll show you how that's done. So when you get this done, you're just going to flare this down to that little crease there that you have. Okay, so that's really all that's to putting this feathering in. It's very quick once you start. Now this is going to flare out, remember, so we're going to flare it out this way. Okay, see how my lines are going out towards the feather, the main feather. Yes, you can if your V-tool is sharp enough, you can go in any direction. That's not a problem. So I'm going to work down here and work towards this. Now you want to be careful that you don't hit into this feathering here with your tool. So I usually work away from edges a lot of times like that. Okay? And then just work it up. And you can take a little bit bigger strokes there if you want. That's up to you. And then put a little small ones in between. And you notice I'll turn it around and I'll work towards the feet a little bit. But it can go really quickly if your knife is good and sharp. And I'm going to work away from here again. And I'm going to blend this in a little bit. We might just finish this anyway today. This one and the other one will be on a DVD when I get both of these done next week. I'll put this one to do the 5 different kinds. So you only need the 2 patterns. If you're just joining us, you only need a couple of patterns to do 5 different birds. Alright, the chickadee, the bluebird, the goldfinch is this pattern that we're doing today. And then you can do the cardinal and the blue jay with the 1 pattern as well. It's just, you're going to just paint it different, that's all. Let me take this back here just to take a look at it. Clean it up a little bit because it's hard for me to see up there. Alright, so we have the front done, okay? And I'll go back and clean it up better. Alright, and so now we're going to go on the back side. And the back side, this flares out, this flares in. So we're going to go towards, again, I'm going to work away from that edge here. Same thing over here. I'm going to work away from the edge because I don't want to hit that with my V-tool. You can get up pretty close. You won't get real flush with it, but you'll get pretty close with it. Okay, so we have an idea where to go here, an idea where to go here. Oops. Gotta flip that around. Now, the other thing that's a little different is doing the top of the head. Top of the head, we go down towards the bill, okay? And then from here, I go in this direction, okay? I don't go straight down, I go this direction. So I'm going to flare that out and just work my way. See? Just like so. Same thing over here. I'm going to go at an angle a little bit. Straight down. And I'm going to flare that out. I do have these V-tools if you're interested in them. I also have the pack that I showed you of the gouges and the V-tools. It's a little cheaper if you buy the whole thing. You can just go to my store. I'll put a link on it on the YouTube channel, because I'll take this one off and put the YouTube channel on here with this video. So if you're missing the video, you'll be able to see it later on, okay, with later on for sure. Okay, so let's keep doing the head. Now we've done it this way, and I'm just going to come down. I'm going to turn it around so it's a little easier to cut it. And I'm just going to go straight across. And I just do a little bit of back and forth, you know, a little bit of a crisscross. Not completely a crisscross, but a little bit angled one way or the other. So it's kind of meshed together. Alright. Alright, so that's that's pretty quick, but you get the idea. You know, you take your time and how you want to flare that out. So this has to come out a little bit more over here. And you can make it really big, you can really make it thin and very tight. It's up to you. There's no right or wrong way of doing these. You know, I have some that are fatter than others, and that's just part of doing handwork. You know, it's never always the same. So now, on the back, I'm kind of flaring it to the center. And so, we're just going to keep going here, and then we'll do those little feathers, and we'll be done with it. I'll show you how to do them. Okay, just keep working your way all the way back. All right. Tiny break here. When I used to do the YouTube videos in the past, instead of doing a live one, I would finish the whole thing, but I would go off camera to finish this up a little tighter and come back and show you. I would get you started, and then I would stop and I would finish that and come back. That's a tiny bit easier, because then I would get a break a little bit here and there when we were doing it. So, you know, and I could fix up some things and clean things up a little bit better than what I'm doing now. But if you guys don't mind it this way, and you prefer to see the live video, that's fine. Either way, it works for me. Okay, I'm not going to fuss back here anymore. Okay, so that's kind of what we have here, is just flaring it in the front, out, in the back, inward. All right, now comes the feathering. This is going to be a little bit more precise. You can do the whole bird like this if you want, but it would look better. So the very first feather we have here, we need to put a little, like a little quill in the middle, just to give us a center. Okay, just like so. And then what I do is I just take my little V-tool and I just go very carefully up, line by line. Usually I do it this way, it's easier. Towards, alright? And then you go down the other way on half of your feather. I should be sharpening this one on a strop, because when you use it a lot, you should sharpen it every so often on a strop. And then, of course, I just mix this up at the top. Alright, that's how it's done. I know this is not as tight as that one, is because I'm online teaching it. So now the next feather's underneath. You don't see that middle quill, so you just go and you just make the same lines again. And work your way down. All right. You can go up a little further. Then you mesh this in the same way. All right. So now you got one feather done. You got the other feather done. Just take your time with it. Now we're going to do the last feather on this side. I'm not going to bother doing the other side. You can do that when you get offline. It's pretty repetitive. I'll finish it up a little bit later. So up here, you kind of just mesh it all together. All right, so that's what it looks like. All right, you got your one feather, you got your second feather, your third feather done. And you do the same thing over here. You put your one line in and do each of these separately. Okay, the tail is the same way. This is the top, feather is on the top. This right here is the top. You see how I have that done? You do the same thing. You put that little quill in the center. And you go from either side. Yeah. Depending how the wood goes, I'm going to go this way. It seems a little easier. You don't have to go all the way to the center. It's, you know, it's close enough. It gives you that illusion. All right. All right, and then the same thing here. I'm going to go the other way. It's just easier. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and that's the same thing. And then you do the other half the same way. All right, so this is how I do a chickadee. And I hope you found this enjoyable. I will come back later and maybe next week. I won't paint these, but this is a large size. What I do with the painting, real quick, it's it's white here and here, black on the underneath, black bill, the other black cap, the black cap chickadee, of course, and then I use like a burnt umber mix for the back, and then I go and I put a little bit of yellow. I will tell you just a tiny bit of what they call a wash, and a wash is just very watery water. It's like the consistency of milk. All right, it's not real heavy, and you can just put a little bit of this yellow on to do that. Okay, you can ask some questions. The first person asks if I have a video to show how you strop the V-tools. Yes, I have that on my Carver's Wood Shop on the YouTube channel. That is there. If you go there, you'll see. If you'll email me, I'll send you the link. If you go to Google and just put in Carver's Wood Shop sharpening, all those videos should come up. All right. The other person asked if I had, yes, okay, I'll send you the link. Mule asked if it's okay. I'm trying to switch some of my online stuff. I'm going to be selling some of my carvings, I think, other than having the shop open at Christmas. I was trying to figure out a way I could do that. And one of the things... oh, you're welcome, Jack. I'm glad you enjoy them. One of the things that I'm having a real problem with is the COVID-19 with the trailer being so small and so compact, how to do it. So I may have it outside with my camper up that I use out at shows, or I'll have it in the hayloft barn. So you saw the picture of that. If I don't rent that out, I will have it in there come Christmas. You're welcome, April. Thanks for joining me. All right, folks. Painting these is not difficult. You can use a thicker paint on this. Usually when you do real birds, I should have brought you the other one. Next time I'll show you my cardinal. I have it here at the farm now. I'm officially moved to the farm a couple weeks ago. Officially I'm here now with the new address at 927. And I ended up bringing a lot of my carvings from my house that I did back in the 80s, my eagles and all that kind of stuff. So I will try to do another class next week, same time, and then we'll see what happens after that. So I'll keep you guys busy for a while. I'll put a link for those that have just asked. I will put a link to the store to show you where to buy all the tools and to buy the wood. The wood's a little limited now, but I will order more tomorrow because either way I'll get, I'll sell it. So if you're interested in some more of the nativity sets, or this is all these that I'm doing is this size wood right now. It's by 1.5 by 1.5, and this is one of the cutouts that I have now. So if you're interested in that, they come, I think, 11 in a pack for $27.50 or something, and that's with shipping and everything. So if you're interested in any of that, just let me know. I'll get them ready. It might take me a couple of days to get it together and out to you. Other than that, that's about it. I have, so remember, this one can do any one of these birds, including the goldfinch. And then this is my super whopper cardinal. We'll do the cardinal next week. This is the size we're going to be doing. I was just goofing around and figuring it. I'll have some fun making a large one. So, but I know cardinals are very, very popular at Christmas. So we'll see what happens. All right, take care, and I hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you next week at the same time, same station, folks, and then I'll have this up on YouTube in an hour or two from now. All right, and then I'll make DVDs of everything, including the Civil Soldier and the, the Santa we did, and Uncle Sam that we did the other day, so the other few weeks ago. All right, folks, take care. Bye-bye.